Hey guys, Owen here with Seek Outside. Today I want to go over how to attach hip belt accessories, specifically the hip belt pocket and water bottle holster onto your hip belt. Belt pockets are going to be left and right side specific, and then the bottle holster can go on either side. Both of these items are a great way to compartmentalize your backpack, get a little bit more organization, or just make carrying water easier and accessible. You're going to have more or less of what we call our PAL system, and that's where you're going to attach your hip belt pockets to. So on the small belts, you're going to have a lot less adjustment than you will on an extra large. On this hip belt pocket, we're going to go ahead and just kind of see where we want it to sit. And I think we're going to use this either the second or the last piece of webbing. Since I'm setting this backpack up for myself, I'm going to use the last bit of webbing. So it's as easy as going ahead, and you can see these little guys right here. On the hip belt pocket, we have this tri-glide attached, and we have some webbing here. What I like to do is go ahead and thread this tri-glide through the first one. Then you're going to come through and thread it through this loop on the hip belt pocket, and you're going to cinch it down. Now you're going to come through the PAL right below it, thread your tri-glide through again, which it is a little bit easier to do when the hip belt is off the pack, especially on these smaller hip belts. I'm going to pull the tension there, and I'm just going to go ahead and thread it through once more on the hip belt pocket. You should have a tight fit, and it should be a little bit difficult to get on. Once you have it popped out, make sure that this tri-glide is even and not sticking right down, and then pull your tension out. So this hip belt is now attached, or this hip belt pocket is now attached to the hip belt. And then lastly, you have this little compression sleeve, which is going to run to the outside of the hip belt. You're going to run your straps through, run your hip belt through it, push it through, make sure this is nice and even on the hip belt itself, and then there you go. You have your hip belt pocket attached to your hip belt. Very much the same. You're going to have 2 points of attachment via the tri-glides and loops here. Since we're setting this pack up for me, I want this a little bit closer to the outside of the belt, so I have a little bit easier access. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to start with the closest to the frame, because that's usually the hardest one to get through. I'm going to go ahead, thread it through like we did, and then on the back here, thread it back through just like we did on the hip belt pocket. It's a very similar attachment. Pull the slack out, run it through the PAL system right below. Again, this should be a little bit of a tight fit when you're threading it through. You pull this guy through, thread it through this loop on the water bottle holster, pull the tri-glide. I'm going to do the exact same thing right here. Through the loop. Right there. Pull the tension out of it, run it through that lower PAL's point, pull the tension, and run it through that bottom loop. And go ahead, make sure both of your tri-glides are like this, and now your hip belt pocket is attached. Thanks for watching. You guys have an amazing day. If you have any other questions, go ahead and email info@seekoutside.com, and a customer representative will go ahead and answer your questions for you. Have a great day.